Every shadow hides a story. Every creak is a whisper from the unknown. Welcome to Haunted Gully, where nightmares come alive.
The autumn air was cold and crisp, the kind of chill that snuck beneath your skin and refused to let go. The wind carried the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves as Arjun trudged along the desolate road. He glanced at his watch, frustration rising in his chest. He'd missed the last bus home again. His only option now was to walk to the railway station a few miles away and pray he caught the last train. His father was sick, bedridden for weeks. Arjun hated being away at school when he was needed most. But tonight, something in his heart whispered that he had to get home, urgently. The road was dark, illuminated only by a pale moon and the occasional flicker of a streetlight. The crunch of dry leaves beneath his sneakers was the only sound accompanying him until he stopped to adjust his bag. That's when he heard it. Crunch, crunch. Each step he took was echoed by another. It wasn't his imagination. It couldn't be. He was being followed. Arjun quickened his pace, the hairs on the back of his neck standing on end. The sound of leaves crunching seemed to match his every movement, like a shadow he couldn't shake. He stopped suddenly, hoping to catch his pursuer off guard. Silence. The only thing he could hear was his own ragged breathing. Slowly, he turned around. The road behind him was empty. A lone streetlight flickered, casting eerie shadows over the deserted path. But no one was there. He shuddered, gripping the straps of his bag tightly. His father's voice echoed in his memory. "Always trust your instincts, son. They'll never lead you astray." His instincts were screaming at him to run, but another part of him whispered that he was safe, protected. He shook off the unease and continued toward the station. The crunching resumed, but this time it felt different. Softer, slower, almost familiar. Arjun's steps faltered. His mind raced. "Dad?" he whispered, his voice barely audible over the rustling leaves. The sound stopped. Tears pricked his eyes as he stood frozen in the middle of the road, staring into the void behind him. Then a vibration in his pocket jolted him. His phone. He pulled it out with trembling hands, the bright screen casting an eerie glow on his face. It was his sister calling. Hello? He answered, his voice shaky. Her sobs on the other end of the line were immediate. "Arjun, Dad, he's gone. He passed away an hour ago." The words hit him like a punch to the gut. He stumbled, his knees threatening to give out. "What?" he whispered. "No, that can't be." But as he spoke, he felt something. A warmth, a presence. Slowly, hesitantly, he turned around one last time. There, under the flickering streetlight, stood his father. His figure was faint, translucent, but unmistakable. He wasn't sick or frail. He looked strong, healthy, the way Arjun remembered him from years ago. A small, sad smile graced his father's face. "Dad," Arjun choked out. The figure nodded, his expression one of reassurance. Then, as if carried away by the wind, he faded, leaving only the crunching of leaves in his wake. Arjun stood there, tears streaming down his face, as the realization washed over him. His father had been with him all along, guiding him, protecting him, ensuring he wasn't alone on the darkest walk of his life. The railway station's lights appeared in the distance, but Arjun didn't feel the rush of urgency anymore. He knew he was already home, in heart, in memory, and in spirit. The end.
The story may have ended, but the darkness never rests. Subscribe and let the nightmares continue.